What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Coming at you today on a Monday. I don't know when you're going to be seeing this or when I'll be able to get it up, but that will come when it comes. We're here today to talk about ego. I want to talk about this for some very specific reasons because shame and any kind of embarrassment are some of the strongest feelings that any of us can ever feel. And it's easy to feel embarrassed about things. And as of this morning, I'm a 41-year-old man that has braces because I've got some teeth alignment problems that are causing some teeth wearing issues. And I had to get braces to fix my mouth so that I don't have long-term teeth damage. Can be embarrassed about that. Could be very embarrassed about that. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because that embarrassed feeling that I'm feeling about this, I know it's just my ego. And I know that, as Dr. Seuss once so said, those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. So it really does come down to that. It's about the company that you keep. It's about the people you surround yourselves with. And anytime there's a situation where somebody's talking about someone else or putting someone else down, all that comes from insecurities from that person. And it has nothing to do with you or anyone else. But I want to bring this up because I see it so often in my daughter who's 12. I experienced it so many times growing up myself, and it's so easy to get caught in that trap where we steer clear of making the best decisions for ourselves simply based on potentially being embarrassed or feeling some type of shame about something. And we don't do ourselves the service that we should be doing ourselves because we want to avoid feeling embarrassed or we want to avoid what people might think. And one of the best things you can possibly do in your life is live your life the way that you want to live it without worrying about what other people think. As long as you're being true to yourself, you're being a good person, what that means to you, you're not hurting anyone else, and you're living your life and living your truth, as some people say, live your truth. There is some objective truth, and that's a whole different story to talk about. But as long as you're living into what you know to be true to yourself in your heart, then you really can't go wrong. And if anyone has anything to say about that, they can go kick rocks. But we're going to pour some of this Jack Daniel's Coy Hill Barrel House 8, have a little sip of it, and talk a little bit more about ego and insecurities and all kinds of stuff. So this stuff right here is crazy whiskey. And it felt like, well, honestly, I felt like treating myself a little bit today because I got braces and it's going to get my teeth fixed, and that feels like a big win. The other thing is there's been so many times where, like I said, growing up, I've let the reactions of other people dictate how I carry myself. Even when we started doing YouTube, me and my wife, I thought to myself, how will this be received? And even then, with this channel, I've thought, how will this be received? Is somebody going to take something I say the wrong way? Something going to be taken out of context? Is somebody going to judge me for something I said? And you can't live that way. We have to be able to speak our minds, and we have to be able to speak what we know to be true and put that out there, because you never know who it's going to resonate with. And by and large, one of three things are going to happen. You're going to say something or you're going to share something, and that right there is going to hit somebody right where they need to be hit, and it's going to help them. You're going to serve as an encouraging word or an inspiration to them. The other thing that's going to happen is they'll just fall on deaf ears. It doesn't matter whether that person just doesn't care about what you have to say, they don't agree with what you have to say, but they're going to hear it and they're just going to keep moving on. And then you've got that third person who is going to comment, and they're going to try to tear you down. And nobody got to the top. There might be some people that got to the top by tearing other people down temporarily, but they're not living happy lives. And it's very difficult to be at the top and be in a good and happy place if you got there by tearing other people down. Build people up. Yeah, it's easy to get to the top that way as long as you keep doing that and stay focused on a rising tide lifting all ships. But anybody that has anything to say in a negative light towards you when all you're doing is living true to yourself and not hurting anyone else in the process, you can't even take their opinion to heart. You can't even give it people say take it with a grain of salt. It's not even worth a grain of salt, a single one. You just have to write that off. One of my favorite quotes ever in a song is by an artist called Aesop Rock, a backpack hip hop artist, still making music, but was making music back in the 90s and 2000s. And he has a song on a recent album, and the song's called Dorks. And the line says, "We're all a bunch of weirdos on a quest to belong." And the second that anybody starts thinking they're not a weirdo on a quest to belong is the second that you can start seeing all the insecure walls that they have up, that they're putting in place to be perceived a certain way by people, all because they want to fit in or not feel ashamed or not be ridiculed. And that speaks volumes about the way they approach the world. And unfortunately, if that's the way that people are living, they're never going to be fully known for who they are if they're living with these walls up. And I just want to encourage you to, I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life, but I don't think it's a great way to judge other people or, tear other people down to build yourself up. But I do want to encourage you to embrace your weirdness, embrace Braces at 41, embrace the embarrassing things about yourself and own them. And if you take ownership of them, it can empower you to have, you now have the power over that rather than letting someone else be embarrassed, or rather feeling embarrassed about how someone else might perceive that. And I think that's worth cheersing to. Man, that is a powerful whiskey. So very good. And one of the most powerful and best things you can do for yourself is do what I'm talking about here, is just take the reins, own your weirdness. I know it's you're still going to feel the compulsion to be embarrassed about certain things in your life, but you just got to write that off. You write it off. It's a lie. It's a personal thing that we all have in us, but you can't give it the time of day. You got to keep on doing your thing, stepping into, everything that life has for you is on the other side of your ego and on the other side of your insecurities. So I just want to encourage you to step into that. And I'm feeling that big time right now because I got a mouthful of metal and it's going to be here for a while. So we'll get through it as will you always do. You always get through it. Look back at all the other times in life where things have happened and you didn't know how you were going to handle it. You got through it. That's what we do. We get through, and anything you're dealing with right now, you're going to get through that too. It's just a season. And if you handle it the right way, you push the ego aside, push insecurities aside, and you step through it, there's something waiting for you on the other side that's better. So just keep living into that. I want to encourage you and hope you have a great week. Talk soon. Cheers.